What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Justin Rodriguez, your favorite lender here in Neighborhood Loans. And first and foremost, hope you guys have had your cafecito. Thank you guys for joining us again on Cafecito Talks. We are super excited because we have some special guests that have not been on the show yet. And I'm super excited because this is going to be revealing my entire journey from day one. So we're super excited to announce Jacqueline and my dad. So thank you guys so much, Mom and Dad, for coming on to the show. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting us, son.
One of the main things I want to touch to you guys is kind of just a little bit about you guys. So everybody has a background on who you guys are and, you know, just kind of start the story. So first and foremost, thank you for joining us, though.
Thank you.
So,
Okay,
Mom, you could go ahead and start.
So my journey, actually, I was born here. I'm product of Chicago. Went to Chicago Public Schools, and I'm very proud of my background. My parents came here from Mexico. They started from nothing. My dad actually, when he would go to work, he actually would ride his bike to go to work, and I was in the back of his bike. So it was very nostalgic just thinking about the snow because of how my dad used to go to work. They struggled, obviously, but because of them, I am who I am and where I'm at today. Me and my brother, I feel like we've had a long journey, but we're very successful, and that's because we saw our parents struggle and work so hard. So that's kind of my
And for all who don't know, that's actually Dwight, my uncle, my mentor, the person that really got me into the business. That's his sister. So that's the kind of origin story on how everything came about. So thank you for sharing that.
And for those who don't know, it's Dr. Rodriguez.
Doctor.
Tends
There you
not
go.
to say that.
There,
But it's
Dr.
Rodriguez.
Put it in there. Had to throw it in there.
Yes.
He had to throw it in there.
I love it. Father, if you can go ahead and start your journey.
Thank you, son. So very similar, actually, to your mom. My parents came here from Puerto Rico in the 60s, and similar to your mom, you know, had really nothing coming here, didn't know the language, didn't know anyone, no job, really nowhere to live. Luckily, his sister, my dad's sister, his aunt, lived here for a little bit and kind of showed him the way or whatever. But, you know, again, they came here with nothing and, you know, started working and started finding opportunities. And you know, I think your mom said the same thing. You know, we owe all of our success to our parents. You know, the struggles that they went through has allowed us to kind of be where we're at today. You know, and you know, when you think of our struggles today as compared to some of the struggles that they went through, you know, you can't even really compare some of the struggles that they went through. So I owe, you know, all of our success to our parents. I'm sure your mom feels the same way. And it's because of them that's developed a foundation for us to be where we're at today. Like our family in general, you know, if you look around at our family, and most of our family on my side and on your mom's side came to this country in a very similar way. And you look at just one generation into our families, you see how successful our family has been. When you look at that, for me, the common thread has been hard work, dedication, not letting anyone tell you can't do something. You know, we live in a country that gives opportunities that a lot of countries don't give, right? And we've taken advantage of those opportunities. And, you know, I think, you know, starting from our parents, from us to you, our kids, you know, I think that's the biggest thing from my perspective is really taking advantage of those opportunities. You know, everyone has opportunities, but it's a matter of, you know, what you do with those opportunities. And I think our family and our kids have done a really good job of setting goals and taking on those opportunities. So
Right, and that's truly resonates with me because I think life truly does always come full circle, right? Like I think the main thing that I took apart from you guys when I was growing up is no matter what the trials and tribulations were, no matter what the situation was put in front of you guys always, you know, came about and always came up on top. And I knew that my main goal and mission for me in my life and my family, I always knew that I was gonna be a family man. Like I always knew that I wanted to give back and have my kids not have to struggle the way that my grandparents did, the way that you guys did, the way I didn't really struggle. So now it's just allowing them to have the same experience of life that I had, right? And that was the one thing that life always comes full circle. So that way, you know, your foundation is super important when it comes to family. And I think that for you guys, I always looked up to that. You know, whenever I came home, seeing you guys work at night, like I looked up to that, you know, in little ways, little things that I'm sure that as parents, you don't really know because you go to the day-to-days. You're working every single day. You don't really foresee all the stuff that you guys do on a daily basis, but it goes a long way, especially now that I'm a new father. Like it goes a long way. You see life in a different perspective because now you see all the sacrifices that you made for your kids. And I'm sure that vice versa for you guys, when you guys looked and had your own kids, you saw what your parents did, and it spoke volume to where everything came about. But give us the background on your come up, right? And you guys got married very young. You guys had kids young, very similar to me. What was the journey like when you guys first obviously had us as kids, and growing up and getting into the careers that you guys are into right now?
I think we've been married for 27 years. We've been together for a very long time. 32 years we've been together. So I think we did. We got married very young. We got married at 24, and we had Lexi right away, your sister.
Yeah.
And our journey wasn't easy. I mean, we struggled, and again, we through our struggle, we did depend on our parents, and our parents helped us a lot. So that's something that resonates with your dad and I. I mean, back in the day when we first got married, your dad had just gotten a job, and I was still in school, and we were both struggling because he had just gotten his job, and it wasn't easy. That's why you would see us working so hard, because we wanted to make sure we provided for our kids, and we didn't want you to struggle. So even though we struggled, we made sure we wanted to be successful, to just to prove to ourselves that we can be successful through hard work and dedication and perseverance. You will succeed, right? Because that's, at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's hard work. So your dad and I just continue to work hard, continue to go to school. I mean, I have 2 masters. I know everybody tells me stop going to school. Got my doctoral, nationally board certified to, as an educator. And that journey wasn't easy either. But through my journey, you talk a lot about mentorship. I've had a lot of mentors through my journey. And I mean, I have a list of people that I am so grateful and thankful, From the beginning of my journey, I didn't start in education. I started in business, and health. And originally, I was going to school to become a doctor, and I changed my journey because I really wanted to make a difference, and changed my journey to become an educator. So as I changed that journey and I realized I wanted to be an educator, I would hear people say, well, oh, you should really give up, Jackie. You have kids, you're missing family events, you're missing this. And at the end of the day, I said, you know what? I know what I wanted. I had a target. I had a goal. And, with your dad's support, I mean, I was able to accomplish it. I'm going to say this. I love my husband so much, but because of him, I was able to succeed, because of our foundation and our journey and our love. And let me tell you, we struggled. Your sister, as you know, we have another story for her, but she had leukemia. She was sick, very sick. And it wasn't an easy journey for us, because we always had to find a way to be successful. But through her illness, I was still in school. I still managed to go to school, still managed to provide for you you were in baseball. So there was always, we were very busy, but we made sure that one of the things that we focused on, that family, that united family. And it wasn't just, it was our parents, it was our siblings, it was just a village of people that we had that helped us get through a lot of our struggles. It was a struggle to a point where it could have broken us apart. We could have fallen apart, but through that journey, we were able to succeed. I was able to succeed. Like I said, I have 2 masters. I'm nationally board certified. I got my doctoral. Your sister, I was cracking a joke at 6. I told her the other day, I'm like, Mama, I think I want to go back to school and possibly get another certification. And she looks at me and she's like, Mom, read a book. I was like, okay. But that's just who I am. At the end of the day, I'm an educator, and I love learning. I love expanding. That's just who I am as a person. As an educator, you just never stop learning. But that also, because I feel like that's so ingrained in me, the hard work and dedication. And I wanted that for you guys. You guys never had a moment where you were not busy. I put you in baseball. you had guitar, you had you played basketball. I mean, I remember one time I took you to guitar and you told me, Mom, I practice. And then you would tell the gentleman who was your teacher, and he's like, he didn't practice. So I was like, yeah, that's
Started sales early. I was selling down the dream.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, these are all little things, but I think at the end of the day, we just wanted to make sure you and your sister had a very stable structure no matter what challenges were thrown at us. And Lexi had the same thing. I mean, Lexi, we put her through ice skating, and she had her own journey, but I think it balanced you. It balanced who you were as a child, and you guys never saw us struggle or suffer, because we wanted to make sure you were taken care of, that you felt the love and the united front of a family. So
Right.
I think for me, it's yes, it's been a journey, but at the same time, for me, it's just been all about family.
Right. And there's a lot of substance in that. Like, I think that one of the main things that's super important is, number one, for everyone listening, obviously, number one, you had a lot of different career paths that you could have chose, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay to change your journey. And I think life is truly about change. You're going to have changes that may redirect your life, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. And, at that time, it might have felt like, man, I went to school for this, but I switching careers. Am I doing the right thing in life? And it's scary to just diverge away from the things that you felt as if was going to be your actual life. So, I mean, I commend you for that. But not only that, I guess a main question for both you guys that I want to make sure that everybody kind of sees and feels is, what pushed you guys to keep going? No matter what, what came a part of you. It didn't matter whether or not the hardships of obviously having your daughter in the hospital for months, years, no matter what that happened, no matter what financial struggle, no matter what family struggle you had in front of you guys, what motivated you guys to keep moving forward and allowing you to just accomplish all the things that you've accomplished thus far?
Yeah, I mean, I think, getting back to your original question of background, we have similar background to your mom, going to school. I knew coming out of high school that I knew I wanted to get into business. Didn't necessarily know accounting was my calling, but I kind of knew business is where I wanted to get into. But even before getting into college, I think, in high school, we talk about work ethic and you talk about dedication, right? I think, as soon as we turned 16, and I think your mom started when she was 15, we got a job, right? And my first job was working at a post office, sorting mail. And every job I've had, I took it seriously, and I worked hard, and I moved up in every position that I've ever had. So even as someone who was sorting mail, I worked there after high school, part-time, 6 to 10, every day after school. And I started off as a sorter and I ended up getting promoted to, I forgot the name of the title of what I was, but, through hard work, through dedication, I moved up. My second job was working for Jewel food stores, bagging groceries, just like many of us have worked at, at a grocery store or whatever. And started off bagging groceries. Within a few months, I got promoted to the stock room and being a stock boy. And before you knew it, I received a scholarship from Jewel for school. They offered me, I was part of their management incentive program, where I worked they put me in different stores, and I worked in produce, I worked in the dairy department, I worked in all different departments, getting experience, and, they wanted me to become a store manager, right? So, my point is, every job that I've ever had, no matter how I started, I've always wanted to continue to progress, continue to get promotions, continue to get better at my job, never settle. I think that's one thing we've always taught you guys, our kids, is don't settle, right? You have a job, be the best that you can at that job. Don't let anyone outwork you. There's things you can control, there's things you can't control, right? You might have people that maybe are smarter than you, maybe that went to better schools, maybe have different backgrounds than you. But what they can't take away from you is how hard you work and setting goals and being dedicated and always working towards getting better at whatever you do in life, whether it's personal or work. When I went to school at University of Illinois, Chicago, it wasn't the best accounting school, but it was a really good school. It took me 5 years to graduate. because I was working full time and going to school full time. 40-hour work week, working at a factory. I worked for your grandfather. He had a job at and same thing as your uncle Dwight worked there as well. My dad worked there. It was a manufacturing company. We made my
Family business.
yep. The biggest thing I made was like the little white sauce inside the Twinkies, the little white
the
thing,
cream, yeah.
that little cream. We made that, right? And it was hard work, hard labor. I would go to school from 8 to 12 in the morning. I didn't dorm at when I went to UIC. I didn't dorm, but I worked 8 to 12. It started at 2 to 10 in Wheeling, Illinois. So I drove from Chicago to Wheeling every day, working 2 to 10 in a factory. In between my 2 to 10, when I take my breaks, when I take my lunches, that's where I would study. If I had a big exam, I would get all my stuff done early. And I had great bosses that allowed me, as long as I got my jobs done, the last hour and a half, he allowed me to go in and get some studying done, get some work done. Or if I didn't get it done, when I got back home, I'd be with your mom, studying till,
Our kitchen table.
studying in the kitchen table until we got things done. So, I think for us, as far as journey, you mentioned Lexi, our daughter, who we're also very, very proud of some of the struggles as a family, but what really helped us get through all of that, as your mom said, was family. Like having that family support, having that family structure where if we needed someone to go to the hospital to bring us food, or if we needed someone to stay with Lexi for a little bit while we ran errands or whatever, we always had a good family structure in place that allowed us to be successful, that allowed us to, despite the struggles that we went through, it allowed us to be successful. So I think for me, it's I don't like excuses. I think in life you're going to be thrown a lot of different curveballs, and for me, it's like don't always excuses. Everyone has them, right? But at the end of the day, what do you do with it? How you live your life? How do you fulfill your goals, even with some of the hardships that life's going to throw at you?
Right.
And I think we've done a pretty good job. And I think my proudest thing is, as a parent, is seeing what you guys have done, right? As our kids, right? I think, and I think we as parents try to do the best we can to mold you into what you guys are today. But it wasn't just us. It was our family. It was our friends. It was all of us, as your mom said, a village. It took all of us to kind of to put you guys are, to see where you guys are at today. So.
Right. And I mean, one thing I can say is, like, I can only wish to be half as amazing you guys were as parents. Like, you guys were absolutely amazing parents. And, like, the hardest part about being a parent, right, is there's no manual to do it. You don't know how to do it, where to do it, how to change a diaper, what are the steps to becoming a parent. And you guys did an amazing job at doing that. And I think that one of the main causes and reasons for why I was able to grow was, and I don't think I say it enough, is because of you guys. One of the main things that I feel exactly what you're talking about is discipline. And I think there's no secret to why you guys are where you guys are at, because you guys had the mindset of continuing to make sure you had to do things in order for you guys to be successful. And I think that you guys instilled that into me very, very young. Like you said, it was like school, guitar, basketball, baseball. Like, it was like back-to-back activities, back-to-back. And I never really had a moment to stop and think on what I wanted to do, or, and I enjoyed every second of it, though. I love the grind. Like, there might have been some times where it was like 6 a.m. I'm like, do I really want to go play baseball right now? Do I really want to do? But, like, it built a different level of I guess, not pressure, but a different level of a desire to want to be successful in anything I wanted to do. And I think, you guys gave me a journey where I didn't have to struggle, because you guys did all you guys' trials and tribulations, and you guys were in the position that you guys were in. You guys got through everything, so that way I didn't have to struggle. And that's where I was in a place where I have my different struggles, which is like growing a business, but I don't have half the struggles that you guys went through, and I really appreciate that. And I can only want and hope to do the same thing for my daughter and for future family members that I have, and pass that on to what we have currently, right? So I love what you guys are saying, what you guys have done. And what advice would you give to the general public on obviously choosing careers, figuring out, and honestly managing a family while having a career? Because I think that's one of the hardest part that people kind of struggling is having that career, but when is it time for family? When is it time for career? When can you balance the two? And especially with the curveballs of life, how did you guys kind of juggle everything overall?
I think that was one of my biggest struggles just because I was going to school while you guys were little.
Right.
And family parties would be happening, and your dad would be taking you to family parties because mom was studying.
Right.
You know, and or she had to do some homework or, but I knew when it was time to give time to you guys and when it was time for me to study. So I had a lot of late nights, needless to say. I mean, I can't tell you that, I just like your dad, I was working full time. And there was a point in time where I was working full time and I was doing student teaching. And and Lexi was sick. It was so hard because I had my daughter who was sick. I had a job, full-time job that I had to do, and I was in school. And I just remember one time sitting in my car and just screaming because at the end of the day, we're all human, right? At the end of the day, we all have something. As a mom, for all those moms out there that have to juggle a lot, it is not easy at all whatsoever. But I had the mindset of, I am doing this for my kids' future. I had the mindset of, I'm doing this for them and for myself, right? Because I wanted to grow as a person. I wanted to be successful. And at the end of the day, yes, it was hard juggling all that, but I managed to do it. Believe it or not, our brains, even our souls, ourselves, has a major capacity to be able to do it when you really want it, when you really crave it, right? You have to want it and you have to believe in yourself. And I think with everything happening today in our society and just so much negativity, I think out there, I think we need to focus on the positive things that we have in our lives, right? Because I think we focus so much on it. And at that time, I remember, like I said, I'm going to go back to that story. I was in my car and I literally was just very frustrated that day. And I stopped and I literally said to myself, what are all the positive things? I'm about to graduate from school. I'm about to get my bachelor's. My daughter's doing really well, despite her struggle. My son is doing really good. He's happy in baseball and in school. I have a great support system, my husband. I'm like, those are all positives. So it took me that, with prayer, and I was able to get through that moment. So I think my advice to people out there is, you have to really believe in yourself and be passionate. And what is it exactly who you're doing this for, right? Is it for yourself? Is it for your family? Who? That is the question. Who? Not, and it just can't be for just someone else. It has to be for yourself, and you have to believe in yourself. So for me, I was doing it for myself, but also for my family, So I think, the struggles are not easy, of course, like I said, but at the end of the day, I'm very proud of, my children. Like your dad said, I'm very proud of you and your sister, because you guys have surpassed, our expectations. I look at you and every day I just glow on how proud I am. Not only have you become a man, successful, you're also a dad who I see how you are with Leilani, and that just warms my heart. She's my heart now. I mean, oh my gosh, my Leilani. And I can't go 24 hours without seeing her either. So, but, I think that for me is just seeing you grow as a person. And I feel very proud of your dad and I, because I feel like we did good with you guys. We helped you develop a path that was successful for yourself. And just hearing you talk makes me very proud. And then looking at your sister, your sister helps many people. She's a social worker, and she's taken the journey because of her journey, that she wants to be able to help others. And that to me is, both of yous are helping people. And that's something that I was very passionate about. I wanted to be able to help people in some capacity, whatever that was. And I see today, and I'm very blessed to be a principal of a school, and I see my little ones and my staff, who I adore, and my kids. And I feel that, at the end of the day, my journey is to help others. How am I helping other people? How am I every day? I want to make sure I feel fulfilled, but that to me is more of how am I helping others, like kids in our world, in our society today. So
And what is your guys' vision of fulfillment? Because I know like there's a lot of different things that can fulfill you in your life. And I think that the more that I've grown in this industry, for me, I speak about this all the time. You can accomplish things, you can accomplish the plaques, you can accomplish all the things, the money, all those things are great to achieve. But there's a difference between achieving things and actually fulfilling. So what are the most fulfilling things that you guys have experienced in your life, for whether it be work related, family related, or anything along those lines?
I think, to address your first question, like for me, what advice or what would I tell people in terms of, being successful, and it kind of leads to your second question, fulfillment. Fulfillment is not always financial, right? It's being happy. I think it's being happy with your career, and every career is hard. You go through your struggles and what you do. I don't know how she does what she does in terms of being a principal and dealing with kids and dealing with teachers and students. And, she has a very difficult job. My job is very, very stressful. But I think for me, it's like finding something that you're passionate about. And like I said before, not letting anyone outwork you. There's things you can control and there's things you can't control. The things that you can control is not having anyone work harder than you, being dedicated and being passionate, setting goals. And that's something that no one can control. No one can take that away from you.
Right.
Coming out of college, when I graduated, I started for a company called CME Group. I started off, I got my accounting degree and I worked in the auditing field. I was there for over 20 years. And I started off as a staff auditor, like the lowest position that was available. And quite frankly, when I took that job, from a compensation perspective, I think I was making more at the bakery manufacturing job than I did in this when I first started with CME Group. But when I took that job, I started off similar to Jewel, similar to the post office job. I started off all the way at the bottom. And when I left 20 years later, I was an executive director, one of a handful of Latino executive directors at CME Group, leading a department of 75 people, doing audits of some of the biggest firms of the world. Through my work at CME Group, I've been able to travel, China, London, Paris, New York, within the U.S., different places in the U.S. But I was able to get a lot of experience and able to see a lot of different cultures and how things are done in different countries. But that helped grow me and it helped motivate me because when we went to China, you saw the good and the bad, right? And you see people different struggles in different places, and that kind of that I use that as a motivator. I use that as motivating myself to not settle, to always go out and do the best that you can in whatever you do, whether it's in your career path or whether that's your social path, whichever path you're in, whatever, you talk about fulfillment, right? There's always, wanting to do better for your family financially, have a good home and all that. That's all really important. But it's also the social aspects of showing love and giving love to your family, to your friends, and being respectful. Right now we live in a very divisive country. Everything is from politics to religion to other things. And your mom said, piggybacking on what your mom said, it seems like we're always looking at the negative things and what divides us, and we're not looking at what brings us together, right? And that's how I'm a glass half full kind of guy, right? I'm always looking at the positive kind of things, right? We're not always going to agree, even within our family. We've got, family members that maybe have different political views, maybe different religion or whatever it might be, but that doesn't tear us apart. You know what? It's okay to be different. It's okay to disagree, but be respectful, right? Be loving and still caring about people, even though you may not always agree on everything, right? When I left CME Group, I was there for 20 years, and I'm currently the chief financial officer at a firm called Advantage Futures. I'm also ironically, the head of HR. I had no HR experience getting into that job, and it kind of morphed towards me. I wear many hats. I also head up the treasury, our treasury team at my firm, and what really helps me, I think, in that role, and what I always in all the roles that I've had is having good people around you. I think I've heard in some of your podcasts, everyone says the same thing: surround yourself with good people, and that is very, very important. You're not always going to be the smartest guy out there, but bring a team together that's good, and relying on your team and allowing them to maybe disagree with a decision that you make. That's okay. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to have a different opinion, right? There's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, as a leader, it makes you a better leader. You want to hear different point of views, and you want to be well informed when making important decisions, right? So my team that I have right now, I'm blessed to have a great team of individuals who work hard, have same moral integrity, same work ethic that I have. And I rely on them heavily to get my job done. And that's one of the most important things that I would say, advice-wise, is just make sure you surround yourself with good people, but also listen, right? When you're making a decision, listen to what people have to say, right? Don't dismiss anything. There's no such thing as a bad idea. Always listen, always be courteous. And again, at the end of the day, as a leader, you're going to have to make a decision, but you want to make a well-informed decision. And to do that, you want to have as much, information as you can to be able to make an informed decision. So
No, for sure, and that was a great answer. And I think that the one thing that I will kind of just dive into also is positivity and listening, because I think that, like you guys continue to say, and I follow this my entire life, is that positivity aspect. You want to really focus on what you have in life, because life is really about perspective. No matter what times, whether it be your job, whether it be financially, there's a lot of things that can burden people's lives. And when it comes to the struggles and the trials, the tribulations and everything that you're going through, you have to really take a step back and understand the positive side of life. Because whenever there's any struggles in my life currently, when it maybe work related, life related, whatever it might be, I take a step back, and an exercise I do for myself is like, okay, really think about it. Did I have to come from another country and come from nothing? Did I have to work in a factory while I'm doing a podcast at my job? Like, it puts perspective on what you're doing, and I love my job. I absolutely love it. So now when you have a different perspective of what our family stemmed from, I am able to get through any situation that any curveball that occurs to me in my life, because it really helps me really put things into perspective. And I think that's super important when people don't really realize what the people prior to you had to go through in order for you to walk in the shoes that you do right now. And I absolutely love the journey that we have all been through, right, to get to where we're at. And I think one of the main reasons also why you guys are so successful is when people first get into the career that they're getting into, a lot of people are really money driven. And I think money is super important in any life. Everyone wants to make money. But the minute that you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be really successful. Like the minute that you want to go to a job, and the pay is important, but it's not the main focus. It's how can I master this job? The money will then follow. It will. That's always how it worked. I was honestly the internship with Theo here. I was like, I don't even think I'm gonna get paid. I thought it was a free internship. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go work with my Theo, and I ended up getting paid. But I was willing to do that without getting paid, and the money followed. Like I never had to be like, all right, money. It was something that I actually ended up loving doing, and through that, the money ended up coming. And for you guys, like, I could tell you guys so much that for me and my journey, like I want to stress that seeing you guys every single day go to work. To this day, I don't know how both you guys done it. I don't know how you would go drive. We live in Bolingbrook, so I would go to school in Chicago. So you drive us from Bolingbrook to Chicago, drop us off at school, go downtown, back to Northside Chicago, then go to Bolingbrook every single day. And it's funny, we always been talking about recently in a couple podcasts that we're talking about is discipline over motivation. Discipline is more important than motivation, because motivation will always be something that drives you for a short period of time, but having the discipline to continue to do the things that you need to do is the most important thing in life, because without the discipline, you're not going to continue to want to move forward on your journey. So I really like it resonates with me that I can sit here with you guys and feed off what you guys have built, and I always say my journey as your guys' son is simply, I use this analogy. Grandma and grandpa, mis abuelitos, they planted a tree. They put that tree and they planted it. You guys watered it and you guys grew it. My job is to grow 2 or 3 more trees. And my daughter, hopefully, one job plants a couple more trees, and we can all grow as a family, because that's our family generation. And I want to be able to instill those values to my daughter and my future family the way that you guys have done thus far. But if you guys had to pick in your perfect reality, what would be your quote unquote rich life? Like, what is the life that you guys, I mean, obviously you guys are doing very well for yourselves and you're very excited, but what did you guys envision growing up on the path, on the journey? What did you guys envision as a rich life? Like, this is a life that I'm fulfilling. It doesn't have to be money driven, but what did you guys envision?
I think for me, when I was young, I used to watch, different movies and TV, and I used to watch people in downtown wearing suits and going to work. And that I've always wanted to do that. When I was young, I always wanted that feeling of going to downtown, wearing a suit, working in the business district and dealing with the stuff that's going on in the financial industry. And that always intrigued me. So I knew at an early age that I wanted to get into business. When I went to school and I went into accounting, and accounting has a lot of different areas, right? There's auditing, there's tax, there's financial accounting, there's cost accounting. It's a lot of different areas within accounting, and I chose initially, auditing. But from an auditing perspective, I think it gave me, going into some of the biggest firms in the world as an auditor. Right. And for those who don't know, auditing, you basically go into a firm and you're reviewing their books, making sure they're doing everything correctly, make sure their financial statements are correct, make sure they're in compliance with all the regulatory rules and regulations that are out there. So when you walk into a firm, we come in unannounced. We call you, hey, we're doing an audit, we're coming in. It's going into a firm and that respect that you get going into a firm as an auditor. I love that. And I don't mean that from a power perspective. I just love that feeling where that when you go into a firm, you have that respect. And when I took my job as an auditor, I wasn't one of those guys that wanted to go find a problem, find an issue. Some auditors, they love, they live for finding an issue. Oh, look what I found. That wasn't my personality. Was always, hey, if there's an issue, let's work together. How do we resolve it? How do we fix it? Right, that was always my mentality going into any audit that I ever did. Right, but going back to your question of careers, right? I know that initially your initial career was accounting, right? You wanted to follow your dad's footsteps, right? And I took you to my job for a week. I don't think you lasted a week, to be honest with you. You came to my job and you worked for a week behind a desk and it wasn't for you, and that's okay. And I always told you that, don't follow don't pick a career just because your dad did it or your mom or whatever. Pick a career that you like, that's gonna challenge you, that motivates you, right? And I remember you coming to week, and after day one, I told your mom, I said, "Nah, this isn't for him." You're just a very active person. You're one that loves to talk. Every time I would look for you, you were not around. You were talking to someone, and I'm like, "Where the hell did he go?" I knew you liked numbers though, so I knew when I gave you tasks dealing with numbers or balancing and stuff like that. I saw that you liked that. But I saw that you did not like sitting behind a desk, staring at a computer screen for 8 hours. That wasn't you, and that was okay, right? We wanted to give you the freedom to choose something that you liked, that you were going to be okay with. I'm okay with that. I like that kind of job. I like being behind a computer, reconciling and trying to figure things out, and investments and, moving money around and stuff. That's me. I like that kind of stuff, right? But that's not for everyone. That's not for, your
Oh,
mom was in accounting for
absolutely not.
for a little bit as
I
well.
was, yeah.
And
I
that didn't
barely
work
did
out. That wasn't very long either. So, from a career perspective, pick something that you're passionate about. Pick something that you like to do, so that when you go to work, it's not really like going to work. You're going and fulfilling yourself, right? When going to work. And I think, even though our jobs are very challenging and there's a lot going on, and we're just this morning we were both working, but it's fulfilling, and I think that's the part that the best advice I would give to anyone is pick a job that's fulfilling. Work-life balance is also very important. There is a time where you kind of have to, unplug from the work and be with the family, and that's also important. And it's hard when you have a very stressful job, but something that you have to learn is to make sure you leave your work at work, and when you're at home and spending time with the family, it's family time, right? So anyways, yeah, that's my 2 cents, right? I think, I think at the end of the day, we all want to be successful, and it's not all financial. To me, my level of success is providing for my family, right? That's most important for me, is making sure that I'm providing. And when I say provide, it's just not financial, it's love, it's support, it's being there for my family, for you guys, for my parents, for her parents. We help them a lot. We take them places. We try to get them out of the house and try to show some of what they provided to us. We want to give back to them, right? And that's one thing that we encourage for you, is that don't ever forget where you came from. Don't ever forget your parents, your grandparents, the struggles that they went through, because if it weren't for them, we would not be where we're at today. And we people say that a lot, but that's absolutely a true statement, right? If it weren't for the struggles that they went through, that we went through, we would not be where we're at today.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's strong. What about you? What was your like a quote unquote rich life growing up?
It's funny. Your father mentioned accounting. When I went to school, it's so funny. I knew I wanted to give back. I wanted to give back to the community, to people in general. So at first I went to school, and like I stated, I wanted to be a doctor, and I would get in his car, and I remember I had to take these classes that were cadaver classes, because we were dissecting. Obviously when you're trying to be a doctor, you take science, and I would get in his car, and he's just like, "Oh, you just don't smell very good," because of the cadaver
It
classes.
was bad.
Right?
It was bad.
We were dissecting cadavers. But I think when I started working in the hospital, because I did work at a time in a hospital, because as a pre-med student, you have to do some clinical hours. I realized that I wanted to do something different. I wasn't happy with that journey. And, I remember going home telling my parents, this is not what I was going to do anymore. And they almost had a heart attack, right? Because I had gone to school for 3 years doing this, and decided my 3rd year that I wasn't going to do this.
No.
Switched careers, and decided, what? I started teaching catechism to children, and religious studies, and that's when it clicked. When I realized, this is what I want to do. I want to be a teacher. I want to be able to give back. I didn't think about the money. I didn't, because, as we all know, educators, we don't make a lot of money, right? Educators, unfortunately, I think educators should make a lot of money, just because of all the struggles and the challenges that we face every day. But, teachers just give their whole self to kids. And that's just amazing to me, what teachers do, and just in general, educators. But, when I did that, I realized I have a passion for children. I want to be a teacher. So I went to school, became a teacher. And as I continued my journey, I just knew that I didn't want to stop there. I wanted to do more. I wanted to give more, and as I continued, I got my master's in curriculum and instruction because I wanted to be, to be able to help teachers, because I was a teacher at the time, but how can I help them become better at their tasks? So got my degree in curriculum and instruction. Then I thought, maybe I want to be an administrator at one point, so then I got my master's in, leadership. And then when I changed districts, because I worked in Chicago Public Schools, then I decided I wanted to be closer to home. So I ended up switching over to District 200, which is one of the best districts in my eyes. I love this district so much, with all the support that I get. So I ended up switching, and it was the best decision I could have done for myself. They helped me get my, doctoral. They supported me with that as well. They pushed me. And, I think that was a very proud moment for me. And I remember when I got hooded that day, the look in my father's eyes just resonated with me. I saw the look on my dad's eyes and my mom, and that to me was one of the proudest moments as a Latina, right? Because as a Latina, I stood there, got my hood, and I was like, wow, all this hard work and dedication, and look where I'm at today. That was one of the most significant and beautiful moments in my life, because, and I was very grateful because your dad had to put up with a lot of my studies and a lot of my education. I remember going to the library, and your dad's like, just go to the library, honey. If you got to write your paper, just go, I'll stay with the kids. Don't worry, So he supported me through that journey, So I think for me, my overall vision growing up is I wanted to give back to society, give back to people. And I see today, and that's something I do through my job, my journey is giving back, giving back, because I felt like as I was growing up, people were giving back to me, and I just wanted to find a way to give back to people. And that's kind of what I do today. I look at my kiddos every day. I come home with a new story, about my students. They're really funny. I love them,
Right.
And that's what keeps me going, to be honest, and I want to kind of piggyback to what your dad said, surround yourself with people who, help you. And right now, currently, that's what I have. I have people in my district, my staff, my bosses, everyone. That support system is strong, and that is what helps me every single day, go to work and just make decisions, not for me, but what is best for my students, what is best, how can I support my staff, So those are all things that I think as my vision and my journey, like
Right.
you said, I think it was a long journey. Like I said, I dabbled in a lot of things, because I wanted to find the right fit for me. And, I trying to be a doctor. Then I took some accounting classes, even business law. That didn't work out either. I was like, yeah, that's not me. Until I found, my education. That was really where I wanted to be. So,
And that's what you gotta love. Everyone's journey is different. Everyone's journeys in life is completely different. And I truly do believe that we're making the Latino community proud. We're doing amazing for, and that's one of the main things too. Is I want to give back to my community. I want to give back to my family. And something that you said that just hit me hard was your family, seeing your parents proud. Making them proud, being able to play baseball, seeing you guys in the stands, and how proud and excited you guys were after the games, or being, in neighborhood loans and doing all those things, and see how proud you guys are in accomplishing those things in life. Like, I think life truly does come full circle, because now I'm excited for now. If I could see my daughter when she's, I was at the dinner table with Andrita at the house, and we were talking about one of the plays that I did at Yates. Or it wasn't a play; it was like a ceremony. It was we were doing Shakira Waka 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 Waka, and I'm thinking of it, and I'm like, I can't wait to see her on stage, and like doing those plays and doing all those things, and just being present for those moments, because I remember how impactful it was to have you guys, have my grandparents in the stands taking pictures, and how excited I was afterwards to go grab food with you guys, and how excited all life just comes full circle. And, that's one of the main fulfillments for me is like, again, like I said, business is great. I love business. I love what I do. It's very fulfilling. I give back to my community. I'm helping people achieve home ownership. It's the most fulfilling job, and I can't imagine me doing something else. That's always been something that I really truly feel fulfilled when I'm doing. But at the same time, I'm very family driven as well. Like, I also know that, there's nothing more to me than to be able to pour back into what you guys did. I always tell you, I'm the best return on investment. I'm the best ROI you're gonna have. Because I do want to give back to you guys. I want to be able to do things like we're going to the Bahamas. I want to be able to be like, hey, mom and dad, I bought you guys flights. Here's the room that we're staying in. This is all on me. Just come on, let's go have a good time and have memories together. And that's, for me, that was my rich life. That's my fulfillment, having my own family, providing for my own family, giving back to my own family, giving experiences to my family, and give back to the community by helping them achieve home ownership and things like that. So you guys have done an amazing job. And again, like I said, I look at life and it comes back full circle, because I didn't realize, I really always reflect on my journey. How did I get here? And it really stems from you guys creating me becoming disciplined, you guys setting the right examples, you guys showing me what love is, showing me what hard work looks like, showing me what I have to do on a daily basis in order for me to succeed in life. Those were all the things that you guys showed me at a very young age. And again, keeping me busy, doing things like giving back, going to the games, like all those little things really did change and impact my life. So and
even it's funny that you mentioned about the games, right? I just think about your Theo Dwight.
Some things don't change.
Yeah, he would go to the games, and I remember you like, Mommy, Theo stresses me out because he's gonna yell at me. And I remember telling you, I remember one of your podcasts. You're like, my mom, in one of your podcasts, you said, my mom just always, if I do something wrong, it's okay, Papa, you'll be fine, And I think it was a nice balance, because my brother was the guy, and your dad oftentimes, would tell
very
you,
supportive.
Very supportive.
Yeah.
But they did it in a way where, yes, they
he would train me. You would be more supportive, but train me, teach me.
Right.
You were just, anything I could have done was perfect. And then my uncle, there was nothing I could have done to be good. He'd be like, I ain't come to your games, watch you strike out. You got to hit the ball. Like, those, it is different perspectives, and I'm grateful for every perspective.
And we all have different ways of motivating each other, and her brother Dwight, you've had on the show many times. He often says that I owe my life to him, my happiness to him, because through him I met your mom, right? And it's true. We were working at Jewel one day, and
he's gonna soak in this.
And I noticed someone that kept. I worked in the dairy industry, in the dairy section of Jewel, and every day this girl would come buy milk every day, and I'm like,
such a lie, everyone.
And I was like, man, they must have a very healthy family, because they're buying milk she's buying milk and not only buying milk, but she was dressed to the T. She
makeup done, everything was
hair
ready.
done. I'm like, man, that's a healthy family. But anyways, I met your mom through Dwight, and I do owe all of my happiness to Dwight. I will say it fine. But yeah, Dwight's character is very different, and he's very successful, and we're very proud of what he's been able to do. And but everyone's different, and that was my point earlier. It's like everyone's different. Everyone has different personalities, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, right? I remember in baseball, when you first started with baseball, when you were young, you weren't born with there's some kids that are born with natural ability, right? That you can tell wow, that kid, you know what I mean? You weren't born with that. No. I wasn't either, right? Yeah. But we worked hard. And, as a parent, I'm proud to say that you worked through, at Humboldt Park, playing at Humboldt Park, which was great. It wasn't necessarily the best combo. You weren't in travel at that time, but it's okay. You worked. You were with your friends. You were there in the hood. You were playing baseball. Yeah. You learned a lot. Not only baseball, you learned a lot of social skills from playing in Humboldt Park, which I loved. I did not want you, even though we lived in Bolingbrook, I did not want you to forget your roots. So we had you in baseball. We wanted you to play at Humboldt Park and with all your friends. You got better with practice, with dedication. You were, in high school, you were 100 pounds soaking wet, and look at you now. You've got into the gym and working out, and and you went to college, Quincy, which a Division II school, which is one of the best schools for baseball, Division II baseball. You were able to get into that school, but your journey to get there was a great journey, right? You didn't start with all that natural talent. You started off with just having a passion, whether it's baseball or whether it's mortgages or whether it's a principal or what I do. It's like you start off with a passion of wanting to do something. You set goals and you continue to strive and do whatever you can to meet your goals, right? Baseball, you didn't end up in the MLB, and that's okay. You ended up playing college baseball, which was kind of like a full-time job while going to school, as you know, right? Yeah. And that molded you. That made you prepared for what you're doing now, right? So yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, like I'm so proud of you and Lexi and some of the trials and tribulations that she went through and where she's at right now, and going to the University of Chicago, getting her MBA from University of Chicago, which is a tough school to get into, and getting into social work. Mental health is such an important aspect of our society today, right? And getting into that field, again, you don't get into that field from a financial perspective, but you get into the field for helping people, and that's similar to your mom.
Beautiful, yeah.
She got into that field to help. So I'm so very proud of what you guys have been able to accomplish. We're excited to see what Leilani is going to be able to do when she gets and others, hopefully. To see what they're going to do as they get older. But the biggest advice for me is let them do, guide them, of course, right? But let them do what they want, what interests them, what piques their interest. Because if you get into a job just because of the money, you're not going to be, you might be financially successful, but you're not going to be personally successful. And
was it easy for you guys to see, like, what fulfilled your kids? Was it easy for you guys to see when we were growing up? Was it easy to be like, okay, he's probably gonna do? Or
yeah, I think for me, like because I was an accounting major, you kind of gravitated towards accounting just because I was in accounting. But I kind of knew that accounting, just based on your personality, I kind of knew accounting wasn't something that maybe was in maybe something that you'd want to do. But that's why I had you come in for a couple of weeks in my job. I think you lasted a week. But it helped you understand, hey, is this something that I want to do? And I love internships. I love the ability. You mentioned your Theo gave you the opportunity to work here, and you kind of saw what it was. And I encourage people to kind of, before you decide on what type of career you want to get into, is kind of dabble in it, kind of get into it, look around internships, whether it's paid or unpaid. I don't think we paid you when you were in accounting. It was an unpaid internship, but what you got out of it was much more than whatever financial, we could have compensated you for working. Yeah. What you got out of it was much more than that, right? So I guess, as you're getting older, school is important. I think we highly encourage school for you and Lexi, and you guys finish school. And did you really need a business degree to get to do mortgages? Probably not, right? At the end of the day, but we were very strong on getting that education, because that's something you can't take away. If you want to do something later on in life, you cannot take away the degree that you had. Not only that, I think the work that you put in school, working full time, baseball, doing school, getting all that stuff done, I think prepared you for what you're doing now. So even though can you do your job without having your bachelor's degree? Probably. You probably can. There's others that don't have a degree. That's okay. But I think it helped you prepare, it helped build you for who you are today. Right. So we're proud of what you and Lexi have been able to do.
Yeah, thank you so much. That meant the world to me, and it's 100% true. I think that everything that you guys have instilled and taught me have molded me to the man that I am today, and I forever, like Dwight says to you guys, I am forever in debt to my happiness for you guys. So thank you guys so much for everything that you taught me. Thank you guys for coming out onto the podcast. I really do appreciate you guys. Very golden nuggets, guys. If you guys didn't take notes. I don't know what you guys need to do, because this is amazing episode. Thank you guys for sharing your guys' story and your journey, and I really do appreciate it. For everybody, thank you guys for watching. We really do appreciate it. If you guys have not already, make sure to have your cafecito. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn your post notifications on, as this was one of the best episodes I've ever had. So thank you guys so much for coming out.
Thank you, son.
Love you,
And I
my
hope
son.
everyone has a great day. Take care.
Thank you.